Police are trying to tackle the rapidly escalating violent crime among Venezuelan gang members in the city who have gotten into New York.
Fox 8's Linda Schmidt talked to the NYPD, who says this crime wave is one of their greatest challenges. She joins us live from the newsroom now. Linda, what can you tell us tonight?
Well, you know, basically what you just said right there, this is one of the NYPD's biggest challenges right now. Now, the NYPD expects the migrant Venezuelan gang crimes to actually get worse in the city before it gets better. They're waving the guns around.
Correct.
Waving guns and flashing gang signs on this video. The NYPD says these are suspected. It is believed this video was made while the gang members were in Ecuador, and its purpose is to recruit new members.
Then, when you fast forward, you see the same individuals where? In Times Square. So that's our concern.
The NYPD says Tren de Aragua has been making it over the border with the migrant influx and is getting established in New York.
What we do see is they are trying to grow.
The gang has gone from petty crimes like shoplifting and stealing cell phones and jewelry to all-out shootouts in the streets.
New York City's most newest gang is wreaking havoc on the streets. TDA, or Tren de Aragua, has showed up in droves, and New York police are worried about what is to come with this vicious group. But they are not just in New York, they are in Miami, Chicago, and other dangerous places where they seem to fit in. They have established presence in Colombia, Peru, Brazil, and Chile under leader Nino Guerrera, the warrior kid. His real name is Hector Rutherford Guerrera Flores, and he escaped a prison raid safely in Venezuela, along with around 80 other senior leaders in September 2023. Their violent practices have shaken people to their core, even the most hardened in South America, particularly their willingness to take out women. Members have also been used as the muscle for the Cartel of the Suns, a drug trafficking network, which the U.S. Department of Justice alleges is run by Venezuelan strongman Nicolas Maduro from his presidential palace in Caracas. Is this the new MS-13? Some FBI agents claim that it is, and that MS-13 and this gang will likely link up. In Colombia in January, a series of brutal murders saw people lured to hotel rooms by Tren de Aragua members. There, they were tortured and taken out, with their ordeals recorded for other gang members. One young man was tied hand and foot, choked out with a cable and beaten with a hammer before he popped in the dome. All this also recorded on a cell phone. The gang's leader in Colombia, Jose Manuel Vera, calls himself Satan. He too was arrested after trying to extort businesses in a series of towns, with bloodthirsty demands sent in WhatsApp voice notes. And Satan he seems to be. In Colombia, Satan, folks, has shown up in the flesh. Some of you may have seen the viciousness that was unleashed in Peru by the bloodthirsty gang. A video had circulated all over social media of a trans prostitute that was hit 31 times in the face and head. This was marked as a warning that Tren de Aragua now ran the city's S-trade, and no one better get in the way. This was just the beginning of what was to come, when 24 ladies of the night, and in some cases possibly men of the night, were put to sleep in 2023 by TDA. They said that they came to play a game and expected to be the winners. Nothing seems to be off limits to these men of ruthlessness. And now, since 2017, TDA members began making their way from Venezuela to the southern U.S. border with their sights on big cities and new lives of crime. From October 2022 to September 2023, more than 334,000 Venezuelans crossed the border, second only to 735,000 Mexicans. With Tren de Aragua playing a key part in trafficking many from Venezuela, 41 documented Tren de Aragua members were busted crossing in October 2022. The signature tattoos of rifles and skulls adorn their bodies, allowing cops to mark them as affiliated with the gang. Some adorn their bodies with silhouetted basketball players in basketball jerseys, emblazoned with Michael Jordan and LeBron James number 23, a reference to the date of the prison raid that happened on September 23, 2023, when their daddy, their king of kings, had escaped. News of cops in Times Square being assaulted in February 2024 by migrants hit the airwaves as the scuffle was seen all over the world. Who was it? Police say they were members of TDA, and after the assault, some of these young men were arrested and later released, pissing off the cops. Johan Boada, 22, even took time to flip the double bird as he strolled out of Manhattan criminal court, following his arraignment on charges of assaulting the police officers and obstructing governmental administration. All of the beating caught on camera. "I didn't do nothing," he would mutter in Spanish as he exited a courthouse hallway in hail of news camera flashes. Boada was the fifth accused cop attacker sprung on the bail-eligible rap, something NYPD Chief of Patrol John Schell ripped as reprehensible. How do they get into the country and into New York City? Gang members cross the southern border and claim asylum. And under this administration, they're welcomed in. While violence is always a part of their way of life, they have been involved in a more lucrative business related to stealing and assaulting members of New York City. New York City has been attacked by moped-riding bandits. In December, they drug a 60-year-old woman down a Brooklyn street. They ride by and snatch your phone from you. The driver maneuvers the moped, and the grabber latches onto a phone, wrenching it from the victim, who crucially is using it at the time. Phone in hand, the grabber, riding on the back of the bike, then stops the phone from locking. He may keep tapping it, or else he can set the phone to never on auto lock. That way the thieves keep it alive without needing to tap the screen. After the phones are stolen, the victims' bank accounts are drained of cash, with fraudulent transactions in both the US and South America, and the phones themselves are sent to Colombia to be wiped, reprogrammed, and sold. The man running this show is alleged to be Victor Parra, a 30-year-old Venezuelan migrant who arrived in New York City last year. Parra will send out specific orders for what type of phone he is looking for. Once the messages are received, the crime wave begins, with the scooter operators making $100 a day and the actual phone snatcher making between $300 to $600 per phone that is stolen. Are phones really worth that much? The stolen phones always end up at the mastermind Parra's home, an apartment in the Parkside Houses in the Bronx, where a hacker takes all of your cash. But this is not the only thing that they do. 15-year-old Rivas Figueroa was recently arrested for shooting a tourist in New York City and taking shots at an NYPD cop. His crying face video was seen all over. No reason to cry now, young man. With a 4-5 in his hands, he became a demon. Now, a crybaby. But this was not his only attack. He hit the Bronx in January and tried to rob some people, where once again, he would let off shots into the night. In Miami, Yerwin Salazar Mayata was charged in November with putting to sleep a retired Venezuelan cop outside a hotel near the Miami airport. Miami-Dade authorities say he too, a member of the gang. The former cop, Luis Sanchez, was enticed by women to go to a hotel near the Miami airport, where he was ultimately robbed and put to sleep. His hands and feet bound with tape. He would take his last breath inside a vehicle, knowing that this is how his story would end. As if this was not enough, they would take his ID and find his address. They would go to his house and take everything of value, including a safe full of gold. Bernard Raul Castro Mata, a 19-year-old Venezuelan migrant who showed up in the good old USA, really hates being free. During a traffic stop in New York City, he decided to pop 2 New York City police officers. Driving an unregistered scooter the wrong way on a one-way street in East Elmhurst sealed his fate. As police tried to pull him over, Mata ran off. Police chased him. When they got caught up with him, he resisted arrest. Mata would fire, hitting a New York cop, Richard Yacero, 26, in his bulletproof vest, and 26-year-old Chris Abreu in the leg. Apparently, the gang did not teach him about snitching, and uneducated, he did not realize that helping the cops would in the end not help him. You have the right to remain silent, and anything you say or do can and will be used against you. He didn't catch that part of the Miranda warning. Cops will report that he revealed to police that he was a member of the notorious Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua. Mata would say members are smuggling guns into the city shelter inside food delivery packages. That way they don't have to go through metal detectors. Mata told police that he worked for DoorDash and received the gun he used to shoot the officers from a friend. According to audio recordings read by prosecutors, Mata claims he was recruited by a cousin to join the gang to do robberies, and also claimed that the gang had been smuggling guns into city-run shelters. With anger, poverty, and hopelessness, these people have hit New York City and other cities in the U.S. with a plan to live or die. They are ready to rap. Some people that come over here, they just don't care, man. They're like, yo, I'm wilding out. I'm coming over here doing whatever I want to do. Lawlessness. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you lock me up. I don't care if you take me out like the cat that, popped off at the 2 cops. His excuse is, well, in Venezuela, the cops pop off at us. So when they're pulling us over on mopeds, we just pop off first. That's not going to get it. He's probably going to prison, 2 attempted bodies, at least 35, right? They'll give him a 35 to life piece, right? 19 years old, life's pretty much over with. Definitely, the streets are definitely wild. They're riding up on these mopeds. You're on your phone. Imagine being on your iPhone and someone's like, what? You're like, hey! You start chasing them down. What do you do? But, anyway, man, sometimes you got to think. When you come over here and, you want a little bit of a better life, man, maybe there's some opportunities for you, right? But when you do that, the only opportunity is what? You're going to the Baja. You're going to prison, buddy. This is it. Some of these cats are coming over the border, which they kind of use the system, and they're like, yo, I'm claiming asylum. I'm in danger if you send me back. So, let me stay. And, they fill out their paperwork, and they're like, yo, we're threatened. We're in danger. And, you know, a lot of times they don't always let them stay, but, you know, they stay for the duration of filling out their paperwork. Trust me, when I was locked up, man, on this whole Fed case, some dudes escaped from our county jail and they took us over to the immigration facility and they housed us over there at the Buffalo Federal Detention Center, and all kinds of people over there, you know, immigrants getting shipped back to their countries, all of that stuff. So you know a little bit about, you know, how they play the system. You talk to dudes. But anyway, what do you guys think about New York City? What do you think about this gang? Should Venezuela be getting ready to build one of them new super prisons that they did in El Salvador for MS-13 if these dudes are absolutely out of control? You know, usually people that have some intelligence, you can learn from others, right? And if you see all this shit going on with MS-13, why would you ever want to be a part of this gang? Why would you ever want to put yourself in that position where you might be in a super prison, or put yourself in a position where you go to prison in the United States for the rest of your lives? Man, some people say bullshit like, oh man, they'd rather be in prison than be free in their country. Man, listen, where there's a will, there's a way. I'd rather be free. I don't care if you drop me off in Venezuela butt naked. I'm gonna find a way. I'm gonna find a way to get up out of there or do whatever I had to do, right? But anyway, leave a comment. Tell me what you think. We're doing these little documentaries, more interviews coming. Blow it on the Razor Wire TV. Until tomorrow, we're out.